How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be doing a highly requested tutorial on how to do a simple, clean, manipulation style Twitter header. When asked on Twitter if people would watch a 20+ minute video, these are the responses I got. So yeah, I said that you guys really want to learn this stuff, so I'm going to be doing a pretty in-depth tutorial on this, and then after that I might upload some other speed arts on ones that would take probably like an hour if I tried to make a tutorial on them. But anyways, without further ado, I will not waste any more of your time. Let's get straight into the tutorial. Alrighty guys, so to start things off, first thing we're going to do is create our canvas. So when making a Twitter header, instead of making it what Google would probably tell you is 1500 by 500, we don't want to do that. We want to be doubling the size, because yes, it will of course fit people's YouTube headers, just because it actually scales it down for you guys, so you can actually work with a bigger canvas and fit more detail in. So we want to go with a 3000 by 1000 with 300 resolution. You guys can just quickly copy the rest of my settings. That's pretty much the base of all Twitter headers I use, and especially for manipulations. Alrighty, so now that we have our canvas, we're going to start with step 1 of the tutorial. Step 1 is to find your images, and to be honest, this is probably one of the hardest steps out of the entire tutorial. Finding images is what I most commonly get asked. It's one of the most common questions I get asked is, where do you find your images, how do you find them, and all those sorts of things. And to be honest, there's no secret or special way to do it. You literally just need to have a good image in mind of what you actually want your manipulation to look like, so you know what assets to look for. So I'm going in with an open mind, and pretty much when I'm going in with an open mind, I'm just going to grab whatever image, maybe like 20 images of one theme, and then just start messing around with them in Photoshop. So we're going to quickly do that. We're going to grab a bunch of images and see how we go. Also keeping in mind guys, when we're looking for images, we need bigger images that are good resolution. If you guys don't know how to check this on Google Images, you hover over the image, and in the bottom left hand corner of the picture it'll show you the resolution size. We want to be getting stuff that's around the exact same of our Twitter header, so we don't have to be actually sizing it up or down at all. We're just going to grab an image that we can use as our base to sort of start fitting everything onto. So when I say the base to fit everything onto, I mean like we need one image to set the perspective for everything in the design that will be going on top of it. So this one's probably better. We could use this probably, and this one is a little bit smaller, so we'll only be able to make it so much bigger before like we can't. So here's where we can duplicate things. Let's see if this works really quickly. You know, I reckon that could work. Alright, so if you guys don't know how to duplicate layers quickly, I'm sorry if I go through this too quickly. It's Control J to duplicate layers, and then if you want to flip it, you just go Edit, Transform, and then you can just flip it sideways. Now what we're going to do is we're going to quickly group these two so that we don't lose them, and then we're going to duplicate that, so Control J, and then I'm going to merge that layer. I'm going to grab the clone stamp tool here, just and stamp some of the parts so that it doesn't look like it's mirrored. We don't want that. We don't want that sort of mirror look. We want it to look like it's just one image going across, not like a mirrored one. So we're just gonna try grab some parts. So if you don't know how to grab a part, you hold Alt, and then that will sample it to wherever you're like placing. So I could sample this brush size, and if you don't know how to do this with a brush either, you hold Alt and then move your mouse diagonally on the right click. Use your right click and zoom in and out diagonally like that, and that will change how big your brush is. So we'll just sample like this little part here and just lightly start clone stamping it so that it isn't looking like a mirrored sort of sand. Well, that'll do. So what we're going to quickly do is we don't want these like dunes in the background, so we're gonna erase these if we can. Yep, forgot that we've got to quickly hide the group behind it, so we'll quickly erase these. And to be honest, that looks really nice, like just by itself. So we can play with the sky that we had back here and keep these like mountains in the background. But even this image, we could use the sun from this image over here, and then we could also probably blend the dunes in here with this one here, so it doesn't look like it's just some tall sort of ridge. And we'll sort of just play around and see if we can get some of these dunes in. So we'll duplicate that again so we don't lose it. We'll grab out our erase tool again, and we'll just sort of play around a bit and see what we can create. And just like that, we've pretty much created another little dune that pretty much just blend into each other. Like, we don't need to worry too much because sand dunes pretty much all look the same, so we don't have to worry too much. What else do we have? We have some more sand dunes. We'll convert that to a smart object and just sort of, maybe we could use these sand dunes in the back to sort of give more depth before we hit those mountains over there. Okay, I don't want to erase these guys, so we'll just keep doing that. Get rid of that layer above because we don't need that anymore. This bit doesn't really need to be here. Alrighty guys, so now I'm going to teach you how to match the color of the orange sand dunes with the normal sand dunes. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down here, I'm going to create a new layer, and then on this new layer we're going to hold Alt and clip those two layers together. Then what we're going to do is we're going to grab the color dropper over here, and we're just going to touch any part of the sand dune that we're trying to match with. Any part will do, there we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to change this layer over here to a color overlay, as we can see, color down the bottom there, and then we're just going to simply run over it with the brush, just like this, and boom, look at that. That is instantly going to match the colors of the sand dunes around it. Really cool effect that you guys can do on pretty much anything to match the colors really simply. Alright, now that the colors are matched, we need to sort of get the background intact with the sand dune vibe we've got going on right now. Now I think one thing that we need to do is add some like sort of smokes or like sort of ground dust or something like that. So I'll leave the pack for all these brushes down in the description. You guys can download it. Super easy. Just search up a video how to download custom brushes, and then boom, that'll be done. Really easy. So once you guys have done that, we can go into here, and there's like heaps of different things we can use, like smokes, clouds, but we're going to be using just basic ground dust. Make sure you pick a color that's sort of the same as sand dunes. You can use white if you want, but I would just recommend using the colors of the actual sand dunes. So we're just going to sort of lightly just go beneath where our sand dune meets the mountains behind us. this is looking good. Now we pretty much have the backing done. We don't want to add anything more because then it gets a little bit too complex. So for now, what we're going to do is we're just going to group all of this into one group, holding shift and clicking the top, and then to the bottom one we have everything in a group. For now, I'm just going to leave these three out because I don't think we've used them as much. So there we go, we have our background for now. We can just put BG for that if you want. And now we're going to start on the logo. So here's just a random render that I've done. You guys can pretty much find logos of Obey. This is the team that it's for, Obey. We're going to quickly go back to the top. I'll show you guys. You can find their logo pretty much anywhere. You just go Obey Alliance logo. And look at that, that is everywhere. There's even a 3D version here, so if you guys need the logo, it is there. It's super easy to do, and if you guys need to create the 3D version, literally you can just get the 2D one, and then you can just click create new 3D extrusion, and it'll do it for you. Alright, so now we need to texture our logo so that it would fit within the sort of theme. So we don't want to grab anything like moss stone or anything like that, because that just wouldn't really fit in with the sand dune sort of theme. So first thing I'm going to do is find a sort of texture that suits the sand dune theme. Alrighty guys, so I've found a texture here. We're just going to quickly copy that and we're going to chuck that in here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to convert this to a smart object again, and we're just going to quickly down the opacity and see if we can, okay, so that's covering most of the logo. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to put that to 100 opacity, and then we're going to clip that onto the 2D layer and then duplicate it and then clip it to the 3D layer. So now what we're going to do here is on the 3D layer on the image, we're going to click multiply on the image, and then that will make it darker automatically just because it's the 3D part. And now what we're going to do is we're going to sort of fill in the shapes that a driftwood would look like. So first of all, driftwood isn't as like blocky, it's more rigid and all cut up and stuff. So this is like completely wrong. It wouldn't be this sharp and refined. So another thing you guys can do is once you find the actual texture that you can just use as like a base for your textured logo, you can find like little sticks and stuff like that and just have it like coming a part of the logo or coming off the logo. So we're just going to look for that at the moment. Alright, so first things first, we need to figure out which parts of this image here we want to sort of brand onto our logo. Before we do this, we need to match the colors because this is like a bright orange and this one's like a grayish sort of look. So we'll go into camera roll filter and we'll see if we can match it. So then we'll just see how that goes. That's looking not half bad, to be honest. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to grab the eraser again and start slowly erasing on 0 hardness just onto the logo and see if the textures start to blend together a little bit. To be honest, that's actually pretty good. So we're just going to keep adding little elements to it and sort of building up that wooden look. Alright, that's all the watermarks done. So now we're just going to quickly go over our layer with the normal lasso tool. Alright, so now that we're on the 3D layer, we're going to grab out the lasso tool up here, and then we're just going to be sort of giving it rigid edges so that it isn't like all nice and square like this. Alrighty, so we've sort of just made it a little bit more rigid. So I know it sort of looks weird at the moment because we haven't got any shadows or anything in. So what we're going to do now is just work on a little bit more of getting that sort of wooden sort of look in, and then we will work on the lighting. I'm pretty happy with how the logo looks at the moment, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to merge all those little layers that is very confusing to look at. We're just going to merge all that into one little group called logo. I'm going to duplicate that, and then we're going to merge that. And now that we have it merged, we have a second layer. What we're going to do is we're going to go up here to edit, and we're going to go transform flip vertically. Now from here, we're just going to position it sort of below where the logo would be. Zoom out a bit and then hold control and then sort of just pull it out like this. Hold control, keep holding control. And we're going to pull it away from where the sun's going. So if the sun was hitting here, there would be a shadow going out this way. If it was up here, it'd be going that way. Obviously, you guys know how shadows work. So we're just going to be positioning that below where the logo would be, and then what we're going to do from here is we're going to go to FX and we're going to go color overlay, and we're going to make this 100% on the black color right there. We just want to go color overlay and then add a color overlay being black, put it on normal 100%, fill that, and then rasterize layer style. So now this will just be a black logo, and what you guys want to do is just down the opacity of this till it's looking more like a shadow. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to erase sort of away from where the logo is going, and then simply just go up to here where it says Gaussian blur, and then just add probably a Gaussian blur to the point where your logo is still sort of visible of this shape but isn't like really nice and rigid. We don't want it to be rigid. Shadows aren't like that, they're pretty blurry. So we'll go for like an 8.0 blur. That's 80. 8.0 blur. I'm pretty happy with that. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to pull that shadow a little bit more further away and then add one more shadow. We're going to grab our brush. I'm going to grab this bit right here, and if you guys don't know how, I'm sorry I haven't even told you this, you just right click on the screen to get up your brushes. Like if you have your brush tool, you right click on the screen, you can get up your brushes anywhere. So now that we have that, we're going to squish our brush down so that is nice and flat, and we're literally just going to put one right below. That is the wrong color. We want a black color right below where our logo would be hitting. We'll do two of them, and then we're just going to down the opacity to a point where it is sort of nice. We'll quickly get rid of this because that's messing up the look for the moment. So that's probably about 70% from the height where it is floating would be sort of the color of the shadow, and then we're just going to add the drop shadow. So we probably don't need it that much now because we have another shadow there. Just like that, and we might erase a little bit of the shadow that's touching it. Yeah, just like that. That is fine. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that shadow. So what we're going to be doing here is dividing up the 2D and the 3D part. So here's the 2D part. We're going to quickly name that 2D, and then all this stuff we're going to name 3D. Now for the 2D part, we're going to clip a brush onto it, and we're going to unflatten our brush and get a sort of yellowish, maybe a skin color almost, brush, and then we're just going to go over these parts And now we're going to quickly go over the 2D part with something a little bit finer. So instead of using a brush, what we're going to do is we're going to go over here. I'm going to go adjustments. I'm going to go hue and saturation. We're going to clip that on our 2D part. I'm going to go colorize, and then we want that sort of orange yellow sort of look. We're just going to quickly figure that out. And then we're going to down the saturation a little bit. We don't want that too bad. And then we're going to bring the lightness up. And now what we're going to do is control I on that. And then basically using a white brush, we can just finely draw a sort of highlighted area. Just along here, just like this. On the edges of our logo, just like that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go to FX, and then we're going to go blending options, and then we're going to go to our slider down the bottom here on underlying. We're going to hold Alt on that, split it, grab the right side and bring that out a bit to the point where you can sort of see our highlights, but they're not too crazy. What this is going to actually do is get rid of all of the shadows that your brush is running over, so it's only hitting the light parts and it's not hitting the shadows. Alright, looking good, looking good. So now we're going to use an exposure layer. I'm going to clip that on top, and we're going to decrease the exposure so that it creates a darker sort of look. We're going to control I on that one, and then that will get rid of it. Grab our white brush tool, and we're going to paint over the parts in which the light would not be hitting. So that is pretty much every part that is opposite of where we just highlighted all of our shadows. So pretty much the insides here will all be missing. The shadows, maybe a little bit on the inside here won't. These parts a little bit. And then just sort of erasing it so that it isn't way too harsh. Alright, now we're going to do the exact same on this layer, the 3D layer. Grab the exposure, clip that on, quickly see how dark we want it, and then Control I, and then using a white brush tool, just paint back over. Alrighty, so now we're on to the final touches of everything. So at this stage, usually what I like to do is just make sure that everything is right proportions, quickly look over things, making sure things don't look too strange sort of looking. Everything's looking pretty fine at the moment. So now what we're going to be doing is, now I will leave a link to this pack down in the description. This is a pack that I would highly recommend getting if you are wanting to get into manipulation style. It is called the Manipulation Handbook by Mayoki. Really good. I would highly recommend it. It has some great assets in it that are just super good and will help you guys out with any of your manipulation sort of stuff. So now what we can do here, so what we're going to do is we're going to put this under the 2D part, just like this. under the 2D part, and we're just going to down the lightness on it by Control U, just nice and low, so that it sort of just sits there. Maybe we'll put that, yeah, no, we'll put that below the 3D part too, so that it's just sort of hanging there. So if we put it down here, it would sort of, yeah, just be hanging off the side of it, just like that. Make that a little bit bigger. Yup, and then ooh, yes, here we go. Dead sort of sticks, these things look great. So what we can do is we can turn this, oh, it's already a smart object. And we'll just have that running across the bottom here, just like this. Just like that, and now we'll grab another one and we'll put that one over here. Now if you click on one of the anchor points here, then you can find this little tool up here, and then what we can do here is bend the actual shape of the stick just like this, just bending it around like that, and we can bend it so it sort of curves out and then back in, which is a cool sort of look for our logo that we've got here. And we're just going to keep duplicating that and placing that around to give it that sort of rigid stick, not stick sort of vibe, but wooden sort of vibe, little bits coming off of the logo. So guys, I'm just going to quickly skip this part of the video because it's pretty pointless for the actual manipulation design. It's just a small little few things here and there that I thought would look nice that you guys don't really need to know to like learn how to do manipulation. And this video is going a lot longer than I wanted it to, so we're just going to pretty much cut the video off here. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like. I'll be probably doing some more speed arts of all these sorts of things if you guys really would like to see that, because then I won't have to like start and stop. I can make mistakes and that sort of stuff, and it won't really matter too much. But yeah, I really hope you guys did enjoy this video. If it did help you, make sure to leave a like and leave a comment. Also tag me in any of the manipulation designs you guys make so I can see how you guys have learned from this video. But anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you guys want to see some of my other work, I'll leave my portfolio down in the description along with all the other links for the video. So I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video.